Hey everybody, what's going on? Good morning. Happy Sunday, 22nd of September 2024. We're going to get going right out of the gate here. I'm not going to waste too much of your time, hopefully. And hopefully everything is sounding okay. I have to be on the headset today because I'm going to be facing this direction most of the time. And it's just easier if it's connected to my skull. Hope this finds you well. And we're going to jump into two things. I'm going to do a first run. It's not the first run for me, but it will be for you, of an Anan G2. I'm going to tell you what it is. So let's get right over to the other screen. The other part of the video, which is going to be fairly short, is a rundown on the Acom 2000 Alpha amplifier. And yes, I had to sell my left nut to purchase that amplifier, but it's something I always wanted. Is it the wisest move? I don't know. But its reputation precedes it. So let me just jump into the chat quick and take a look and see what's going on. Say good morning to everybody. Hey, Scott from Colorado. And Captain Dave. There's Todd. Good morning. My gate is a little tight. You guys let me know if it's acceptable. VK2WW, hey from VK Paul. How you doing, Paul? Good evening. And we're off and running. That's all that's in there right now, at least visible in the chat. So, Anan G2. So the Anan G2 is a newer radio from Apache Labs. I kind of was looking for a standalone radio that is an SDR, so I've always looked at like a 6400M, blah, 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 that type of thing. Something I could either run with Thetis on the with software on the computer or run it standalone. So I'm going to give you my first impressions and some issues that I've had, which were my fault. I'm going to put that up front. When I first got the radio, I unboxed it, dropped it on the desk, lit the sucker up, and it just took off. But it's not a conventional SDR from the set. There's a couple little things you have to do. Now, the G2 runs a Raspberry Pi built into it to actually run the hardware with built-in software on the Raspberry Pi if you're going to run it standalone. And I'll show you how to light it up and to make both systems work, not simultaneously. You can't run them both simultaneously, but you can run one or the other, either the radio standalone by itself or with Thetis or SDR console on the computer. Okay. And hey, Doug and 4x1FK. Hey, how you doing there? And thanks for the comment yesterday. I got a little chuckle out of that in one of the videos. VA7LM. Doug, where are you at? I'm just curious. You're probably West Coast, right? You're out in BC, maybe? No, I'm assuming Seven Land is probably West Coast, but you never know. Good to see you in here. Okay, and so let's get right over to the other screen. I'm not going to bloviate here. I want to just show people what this is. And it's mostly an information video. I'm going to have some diagnostic stuff. If this ever happens to you, I had what I call a perfect storm. And it had nothing to do with the transceiver. But I'm going to say right up front that this is the most complicated system on the planet from a ham radio transceiver standpoint. The resources available for help with the community on the air is very, very good. People are very willing to help. There's a tremendous amount of knowledge out there to get these things running. Are there simpler systems? Absolutely. Absolutely. These front ends are really remarkable, and the TX, the transmit audio is pretty much second to none. I think maybe either equal or close second would be a Sun SDR2DX from the sheer ability to transmit unbelievable audio, as well as those are the only two SDR transceivers that I know of that are capable. The Sun and the Anan is virtually indistinguishable between the cleanliness of signal. If you're running a valve amplifier on a lot of solid, the older solid states, they tend to be a little dirty. I've got a PW1 here, and they are a little dirty, but when I'm on the Sun, it's literal railroad tracks on a valve amp, whether I'm on the Acom or whether I'm on the old AL88. So I just wanted to put that out there. Very, very clean PAs. All right. BC, there you go, Doug. And Ghostwriters. I like that name, by the way, Ghostwriters in the Sky. I was going to mention that, and I think you put a comment in maybe yesterday or whenever it was. All right. So let's get into the basic startup, what the thing looks like, and operation. It is black right now. So let me get over to this camera. Hey, look, a mirror. Good Lord, I got to look at myself twice. So that's the G2. All right, runs a Raspberry Pi, like I said. There's some things I'm going to talk about just really briefly. If you look, and the camera is not very, this is a little out of focus. I don't know why over here, but you need a lot of light to look and see what all of these are. What are all of these, how they're marked, the buttons. And this is just my impression. What I don't like is the fact that all the buttons are black or gray and all the knobs are black. There's no distinguishing. Like if you were to just look at the screen, everything's black, which is annoying to me. The buttons should be white or a different color. I'm tempted to pull the knobs off and paint them. I know, crazy, right? This radio retails, I think, around $4,500. To me, there's no excuse for that. I'm just going to say that. That's just me. The writing on it is the wrong font. Very difficult to read. My eyes aren't that good. It's very small, and I can't read it. I can't even see. Like, if I get close enough now, I can see... what is that? See, I can't even read it. I think that's monitor, and this is two-tone tune. And these are all your mode buttons, band mode, filters, your RITs, transmit and receive function. I'm assuming that's FCN. C-tune is right here. Lock is right there. Of course, this is your VFO. Very nice feeling VFO, by the way. Really nice. I mean, it's one of those VFOs that feels adequately heavy and very, very smooth, like glass smooth on that, which is kind of nice. This button sits in here kind of crooked. It's straight from through the case, through the front panel, but there's a little wiggle to it. See, it's a little crooked. You kind of get the idea, right? So runs on 13.8 volt 30 amp power supply, which I have it hooked up to the Alinco power supply. And of course, you got your headphone and mic. One thing I wanted to mention, this does not communicate. If you're running it standalone, it will not communicate with your computer. So if you're running audio virtually, it's not going to work. So there's two options I wanted to get into really quick. One option, it has a line in the back, also multiple mic inputs, which are TRS. The line in, I think it's a TRS as well. One option, which is the option I'm going to use, is to bring a line from the rack into the line in and then select the line in to feed my TX audio into the transceiver. The other option is to use a microphone with a 3.5 TRS and bring that in. And you can either make up a cable. Most likely, you could use like a computer headset, I'm assuming, because you can apply voltage to drive one of those computer headsets with the microphone in. Now, the built-in software in this does not have CFC controls. It's got a lot of stuff, but it doesn't have the same stuff Thetis has in it. It's kind of stripped down. Remember, this is a Raspberry Pi. I believe it's a Pi 4. Don't hold me to that. Pi 4 running the operating system and the radio. All right. I think that, one more. Well, I'm going to get into that. Now I'll get into it right now. There are no RCAs on this radio, which is problematic for most people because most radios use RCAs for connectivity. This rig uses all 3.5 millimeter TRS jacks. So to PTT this radio, you need an adapter cable from your foot switch or whatever to a 3.5. I'm sorry, you don't need that. What you need is a 3.5 TRS pigtail that breaks out into two leads with RCAs on them. So that way you can connect a foot switch, plug it into the RCA, tip is in, PTT in, ring on the 3.5 millimeter TRS is out. So you plug your foot pedal into the in RCA, and the out RCA goes to your amplifier. Super simple, but you do need, I didn't have one, so I just made one. I got a bunch of TRSs here, solderable TRSs, and I took a RCA cable, cut it in half, and just connected both of them to the one to the tip, one to the ring shield common, and my foot switch keys up, everything works. All right, that's pretty much it. So what you do when you first get it, I'll walk through the entire set. It's very, very simple, but if you don't know anything about Linux and how this runs, you don't have to be a Linux freak. It's all set up, ready to go. All right. I just wanted to put that out there. Don't be afraid if it's Linux, and I'll show you why, how simple it is, but there is a sequence. First thing you do is you hit the power button, and the radio will boot up, and the software will boot up. So you'll see the screen come up. So the Pi is booting up right now. There it is. Bang. There you go. So the first screen that pops up here is if you want to run it standalone, all you have to do is hit start right there. So you can hit start. And what it does is it launches the software for the radio, and there's the radio. All right. So that's what it looks like. I'm not going to get into all of the other stuff. I was just going to show you how to start it. It's just like any other SDR. There are certain things you're going to have to learn. In the menu here, if you come over to the right-hand side right here, it says FNC function. You can step through this. Now, I have a mouse connected. Easiest way to do this, it is a touch screen, but I use a mouse, so I just plug a mouse into the back of it. And you can also plug a mouse right into the front right here. You can also plug USB sticks in, stuff like that. So you can step through all across the bottom here. You've got, you can change your mode, your sidebands, AM, digital, blah, blah, blah. This is the AGCT right here. Same as what's on Thetis, so you do have an AGCT. You also have noise reduction, which is surprisingly good on this. It's not the same as Thetis, but it's pretty good. You got your AGC right here. You can choose the speed of your AGC and the hang threshold, which is nice. All right. And the function right here, click this, and it will step through all of the menu functions right here at the bottom on the GUI. So you can step through this, frequency, all this stuff. And as you can see, the VFO works. If at any time you want to hide the menu, just click this, bang, and you've got the full spectrum and waterfall there. All right. To re-show the menu, you can either go through here, right? Or you can put it back on the bottom like that. Just hit show or hide. Now, if I want to hide it, I can come in here and to basically shut down the Pi HP SDR, which is the software that's running the hardware, all you need to do is hit exit Pi HP. It's fairly self-explanatory. 5 minutes of just digging around in the menus and you'll have it. It's pretty simple. All right. The one issue I have, I'm going to talk about, and I don't have audio fed because it's running standalone. I don't have audio fed to the stream. I'm sorry about that. That'd take a little bit to, I'd need to pull a line out of the, I don't know, speaker out, or I don't know, somewhere out of the back, and get it into the main computer for the stream. And I just didn't have time, nor do I have the desire to do that. Headphone input is right here, by the way, so you can plug in a set of headphones. Like if you had a computer mic, which if I'm running this standalone, that's all I'd use, to be honest with you. I just get myself a computer headset with a all head-worn, and just plug it in the headphone jack and then plug your mic in. Set it up in the menu. Like if we go to menu, let's see if we can find it here. I haven't really looked. Where is audio? I can't find it. I may be looking right at it. Let's get out of there. Let's go down here. Let's hit the function button, see if we can navigate to it. Mox, of course, Mox is to key up. You can key it up using, this is a Mox button, same with on Thetis. You can key it up right here. Let's see, you got the Mox split. Looking. I saw it, and I can't remember where I saw it. Oh. But I think there's a place where you can set it. I thought there was. See, I haven't used it yet on transmit. I've used it on receive. So anyways, I'll have to find that. And like I said, this isn't a deep dive. This is basically a snapshot of what's going on in here. So one issue I had is that I got some stuttering and it went away, some buffering issues on the audio. And I'm not sure what that's all about, because to my knowledge, it uses what's called port audio. I think it's port, is it? Something related to the Pi. And if you noticed on startup, you'll see it populate. It says it right in when you first start the software. So I don't know if there's a setting somewhere to straighten that out. It tended to buffer a little bit, like I got some stuttering, which isn't good. So I'm not sure about that. I'll have to figure that one out. That's running standalone. All right, so that's basically it on the running it standalone. So I covered connectivity and blah, 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 all that stuff. So let me jump over to the chat. Did I drink enough water today? I'm not drinking enough water. I know the audio on this is not my normal audio, but that's okay. Hopefully it's... Dave, you're too funny. Yep, it has multiple sockets, Ghostwriter. There's one in the back and one in the front. Yes, Mox, says Mox. I know, right? That's what they should have, dude. Can you record and save reception to a USB stick in that particular? I don't know that. Now, keep in mind, this operating system is running Raspbian, and there's all kinds of things you can do with Raspbian. Raspbian is basically a stripped-down Linux version of Windows. It functions the same. Yes, there is some command line stuff, like you noticed when you, let me show you. Oh boy, you can't even see the screen. I just looked over at OBS, too bright. Oh well, I wonder if I can fix that so you can adequately see it. Oops, wrong mouse. Let me see if I can fix that. See if I can reduce the there we go. That it's actually yellow and green, the spectrum is. So that's a little bit better. Gamma I can't adjust on this camera for some reason. I don't know why. Huh. It just auto adjusted. I don't know what's going on here. That's a little bit better anyways. Let me pop over to the menu and see if that's any better. And it's not any better. Oh, well, I'm not going to take any time. It'd be nice if you could see it. Oh, I see it. There it is. I'm adjusting the camera. See, it's the contrast. These cameras do not do well with contrast. Okay, so that's what the menu looks like. All right. Oh, there's the color on the spectrum. Okay, we got it. You can tell the camera's freaking out because I've got it seriously demented. I'm going to leave it right here, though, because when I boot it, I shut down the software. I need to show you again what to do to get it to go to Thetis, and then we're going to move over to the computer. So let me just see if I can do one more. That's not bad right there, right, guys? Okay, we'll leave it. All right. Enough of that. Like I said, I'm showing you this to know what you're getting into. All right, this is not your father's radio or grandfather's radio. Okay, let's get out. Oh, I'm going to shut this down. So you just click menu and exit by HP SDR. And if you want to shut down the whole thing, you can hit shut down and it will kill the entire thing. But I'm going to get into, I want to leave the radio on. I just want to shut the software off. So, all right. So let's hit exit. Okay, now we're back to the main desktop. Okay, first thing you want to do if you're going to run Thetis, all right, you need to, right here, there's a P2 app, it says. P2 app. You want to click this, and it will launch a command line automatically. You don't have to put any commands in or anything. And yes, this is Linux. You can actually go in, if you prefer single click, you can go to this, which is your file browser. And where did I find it? Edit, preferences, just like Windows. You can go to behavior, open files with single click. That's the first thing I change whenever I do a Raspbian install. Now, you don't have to, this is all comes ready to go. You don't have to do squat. It's also got a file browser in it, right here. I mean, you can go online. This is a computer, so you can actually go online and do stuff. All right, download stuff and all. And yes, you can put a USB stick in, and it will pop up in the Explorer tab, and you can navigate right to the USB stick. I got to change out the desktop picture. It's a pretty picture, but I'm going to put my call sign and something stupid in there. Anyways, okay, moving on to the computer side. When the radio first boots up, again, you're going to have the option to either start the internal software and run a standalone. If you don't want to do that, when that window pops up, all you have to do is just hit the X and X out of that and close that window. When it first starts, you're going to be prompted what to do. Do you want to start the onboard software? All you do is hit the X, that window notification will disappear, and then you come to the desktop right here, which will show, and you click this. Click this, and this will execute the linking to your main computer. I'm going to get into connectivity at the end of this. Alrighty, let's hit. I keep trying to use the wrong mouse. Now that that's done, okay, we are going to move. I'm going to change cameras here. Okay, here's the computer. Now this is Thetis, all right? Of course, what you want to do is you want to download and install Thetis. I'm running the latest Thetis. Hey, Steve, WZ1U, what's going on, Captain? And Caesar, nice to see you. Let me check in. There's John. Good morning, good afternoon, John. And Ed, what's going on, Ed? Good to see you, K3CU. All right, Thetis. Download and install latest version of Thetis. I'm going to get into the connectivity and issues I had at the end of this. Like I said, let's get, so I have a virtual serial port emulator running. This establishes COM port communication with your loggers or anything else, FT8, blah, blah, blah. You will need a serial port pair. I run the free version. I believe this is 32-bit. All right. Make sure that's running. You don't need it if you're going to run just the radio, if you're not going to run a logger, but I figured I'd show that. Common sense, right? Everybody knows that, I hope. Once Thetis is installed, let's see. And I'm not going to go through the Thetis configuration. I have a whole video. If you're wondering about how to get Thetis going, I have a no fear Thetis install and setup. Which will walk you through all the basic fundamentals to get the thing up and going. Guarantee it works, with a caveat, which I'm going to get into in a little bit. So let's get Thetis going. I'm going to mute. Radio's going to come blasting on probably. Hit the power button. There it is. Let's get over to 40. And I got to get over to the other antenna. Alrighty. There she is. There she is. And you heard Thetis running yesterday, so I'm not going to go through all that. That's basically it. All right. When it comes to this rig. There are... I don't want to go too deep. I do not want to go too deep. Because this is really like first impressions and stuff like that. Okay, let's get into the quirk that I had, which has nothing to do with a radio, I believe. Nothing. So back when, I don't know if you want to, hold on, let me, video capture device. There we go. Okay. I don't like just having the thing sitting there. It's not that I'm narcissistic. It's just that it's nice if you see, like when I watch a video, I don't want to sit there and just watch a freaking spectrum flashing away. So what I had happen, now I had a 200D, and this is information is power. I'm going to put this out there because I had what I call a perfect storm happen. And I don't believe it had anything to do with the radio. 99.9999% sure, nothing to do with the G2. When I had the 200D, which I sold last winter, I struggled for 2 years with sequence errors. Now I had it plugged into my local LAN. W2QEG Carl told me, he said, this is what you do. Buy an X-Media LAN card and stick it into the computer. It has 2 inputs. And I think they're 1 gigabit cards or whatever. Each has 2 ports, 2 independent. One, the sun plugs into one of them. The Anan 200 plugged in the other one. Wiped out any errors, took away any errors. I could run that at 1 million Let me show you. So if you come up here to setup and you go to FW select, FW set, and these are your sample rates for your 2 RXs. I'm running a 768,000 right now. I could run that. I haven't tried it yet. I'm going to click it right now. There it is. Running at 1,000,005. And it runs, I'm going to set it back to 768. No sequence errors would pop up right here. Right here at the bottom of the spectrum. And it would light up red. And you'd see the sequence error with a code. All right, let me go back to 768,000 because I don't want to foobar or anything in the middle of the stream. I plugged that 200 into that X-Media card. You can get them off as Amazon. I think they're like $30 or something, whatever. And I use very high-end cables. They're shielded cables. They're like 2, 3, or 4 gigabit cables. They're way overkill, but I wanted something really good because there is, you know, you're in an RF-rich environment. Even though you don't have RFI in the shack, right? So plug that in. That thing took off. I let it idle for 2 days at over 1,000,005 on the sample rate. Not a single sequence error. Score. So if you get one of these, it's a crapshoot. You may be able to run it on your local LAN through a switch. I have a switch down on the behind the desk. And if it may run perfectly fine there, and you don't have to run it at a high sample rate. Like I couldn't run higher than 9,600 on the sample rate. And I ran it for 2 years, 9,600. It only started getting weird when I started to push it, you know, push the sample rate higher. So, and I can't run on these weak sample rates. I want to see the entire band. You know what I mean? And like 10 meters, I can see a lot of 10 meters if I wanted to. Not that I need to, but I like options. Okay. So I put the X-Media card in, boom, solved that issue. Here's the perfect storm. You guys aren't going to believe this. So since I lit the radio up and I got it connected to the computer, I've had non-stop sequence errors plugged into the computer on the X-Media card. Day and a half I spent hacking, hours trying to figure out what the frick is going on. I went through all of this. So technically what you're supposed to do when you start Thetis the first time, or when you go to set up the network throttling index, you run Thetis, right-click, and run as administrator. Once it's open and running, you go to setup up here, top left corner, and you go to this, General Tab, HW Select. Over here on the right-hand side, you'll see Network Throttle Index Tweak. All right. Make sure that you'll check that box, and you'll be prompted to restart. What that does is it does a throttling index tweak to your registry. Well, I did that. Didn't matter. Sequence errors up the freaking wazoo. You have to restart, go through that whole thing, and it applies it. And here's the thing. That was the first thing I thought of before I even did that in Thetis. I went to the registry where the throttle index is, and I looked at the value. It had already been done from the previous 200D, so it was already in there. It was tweaked, and it was still giving me sequence errors. This is plugged into the X-Media card. Fast forward, make a short story long. I got into last night, and I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm thinking, you know what? I wonder if there's something up with that card. In the time period from when I had the 200D and now, something happened. Don't know. So, actually, you know what? This is a new card. I bought this card about a month ago. And it had the driver from the original X-Media card. I just thought of this. So this is partially incorrect information. I just realized this. I'm crazy. So I put the new X-Media card in. And I didn't realize I had the previous driver in there, so I took the disk and I installed the driver, the exact driver for that card. Now, keep in mind that it runs flawless on the Sun. Don't know. Don't get it. So a day and a half, blah, blah, blah. I'm hacking away. I'm trying to figure out what the frick is wrong. So I thought, well, let me plug it into the local LAN. I just never thought that it would run good on the LAN because it never did on the 200. Put it on the LAN, boom, thing lit right up, not a single sequence error. I'm telling you this for a reason. This is Diagnostic 101. Because if you're into these types of radios, you're going to run into crap like this, and knowledge is power. So it ran great on the local LAN. So I was like, okay, there's something up with the card. What comes to mind with something like that, a piece of hardware in the computer? Driver corruption. Something up with the driver. So this is what I did. If that happens to you, this is what you do. And you're running an additional card in the computer, and you're plugging your rig directly into the computer, right? What I would do first is I wouldn't even install the driver for it. Just put the card in the computer, start up the computer and let Windows install a driver. So what I did was I blew the driver out of it, rebooted the computer came back up, saw the card, appeared that there's absolutely no conflict, nothing, there's no warning in the device manager. Plugged the friggin' cable back into this, lit this thing up, and off and running. It's been running ever since. That's one of those things, all right? I'm just warning you, this is not for the faint of heart. You do need some level of knowledge to run these systems. I'm firmly convinced that you can, once you get it running, don't touch it. I know this is a tweaker's radio. People love to tweak, but I'm going to tell you, there's nothing like hitting a power button on a radio and having it light up and be right where you left it all the time. That's my goal. And that's the way the 200 was, unfortunately, when I sold it. Every time I lit that up, it was right where I left it. All right. One thing, you can bring audio in virtually, same way. If you're running Thetis, I don't know if you can bring audio into the radio. I believe you can use the line in and it will pass the audio to Thetis, even though you're not running the radio standalone. That's what my gut tells me. I don't know that for a fact. I run everything virtual. So even if you're running a rack, not a problem. You can pass it all virtually. I've got tons of videos, exhaustive videos on how to do that, so you guys can figure that out for yourselves. All right, we're moving on. Let me check the chat, and then we're going to move on to something else. Ghost Rider, Hermes Light 2, John, from Belgium. Caesar. I already said hello to you, Caesar. We got to chat again. Let's see, John. Hey, John. How you doing, buddy? Gabriel. SA7GAM. Wow, nice to see you in here, Gabriel. And yeah, if you like that skin. Oh, by the way, guys, if you like this skin, NCSWIC. NCSWIC. If you like this skin and you're awake and you know what's going on, let me know. I'll make one. I'll just send it to you. If you want a Thetis skin, I'll just zip it up. I'll put it on my Google Drive and you can download it and run it. It's been modified, the entire back, around the buttons. It's a blue. It's all blue. I'm going to start making more skins. There you go. Was that Jerry? Jerry, yeah. So you can run the G2 direct audio to the radio from the rack. There you go. And that's a lower latency way to do it too. But I've got this thing dialed in so snappy that I can actually talk with a monitor on and not stumble. And let me just take a look at it. Let me show you the audio setup. Let's go to setup audio. Let's see what we got. Nah, not many. 27 overflows on the out VAC, and on the in VAC I have underflows 13. So that's not bad, and that most likely happened at startup. Right when it starts up, you'll see some pop in there, and then it'll stabilize and it'll just run. So yeah, as you can see, it's running real stable. It's looking really good. I don't push it too hard. You don't have to. Let's see, rattle trap. Oh, you're getting a G2. Well, there you go, rattle trap. Hopefully this is for you. Marvin, how you doing? From Florida. The bikini state. I'd be sitting out on the front porch instead of watching this crap, watching the bikinis walk by. W1 SPS. W1 SPS. So where are you located, Rattletrap? Just out of curiosity. K2 ICC. Quarter jack. I would bring it personally. Well, who said that? Jerry. So Jerry, you can answer that question. I would bring it in. I know a lot of guys bring them into the Anans via line in. I would not bring it to a mic input. It has a line in on the back. I'd use a line in. Oh, we got one underflow. It just popped in. A 4 on the VAC end. So it's pushing a little bit too hard. I can back it down still. It's not bad, though. Yeah, I'll catch you after this, John, on Z. Torrington, holy crap. That's my old stomping grounds, man. I used to work at there was a mobile station right there on the corner. I'm in Vermont now, of course. And I used to work in a mobile station right on the corner. So you come down the hill. What is that, Route 4? Come down the hill and you go through the light and you head towards the center of Torrington. You pass a Burger King. I don't know if the Burger King is still there on the right. And there was a mobile station right there on the right-hand side when I was 16 years old. It was the first job I ever had. Of course, I'm almost 60 now. They had Chevelle clubs. We used to have all the classic cars, muscle cars, Mustangs. Oh, my God, I saw some beautiful cars down there. They'd all be out cruising. This is back in around 1982, 83. No, it's before that. This must have been in about 1979, probably. I grew up in Pleasant Valley, Rattletrap, by the way. That's my hometown. Where I grew up, right there in Pleasant Valley, right on the hill before you head down into the center of Pleasant Valley. Place called Ripley Hill. Fen Drive is where I grew up. Mobile is still there. You got to be kidding me. No, what was the guy's name that he can't still own that? SLG, yeah, good to see you. Small world, huh? Small world. Boy, I spent years down there. I used to go down there cruising even when I wasn't working. I had a 65 El Camino. My brother had a 67 Cougar, with the flip-up lights, had a Super 289 in it. Nice car, beautiful, beautiful car. Oh, you moved there in 97, okay. Yes, SLG, New rig. All right, moving on. Silly. Okay. Now, let's get over to the other camera. I'm going to have to do some shuffling here. So, Elmer. I know, Elmer. I'm deep in thought here. I'm trying to keep my crap together. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I got to reorient some stuff. And yes, I still have the screen protector on it, which I will be taking off. Once I clean the shack, I've got to do some serious cleaning. Okay, I've got to change. I'm going to reset this camera. Hang on, guys. Configure video. Let's go to default. I don't think it did anything. Okay, and I'm going to kill this light because I think it'll be easier. It's reflecting. Uh-oh. Ah, shoot, the camera just flipped out. That's the problem with this camera, Dave. I cannot move the camera for some reason. I can't move it because it just freaks out. All right, I got to go to another camera. Haven't been able to fix it. I don't know what's going on. Because I need the cameras to be able to move sometimes when I'm, as you know. So I'm gonna use this bad boy. I hate to move this, but oh well. Takes me a while to get everything set up right. So let's go here. Bear with me, guys. Didn't think of that. Wow. Okay, let's come over here. How do I make this work? It's going to be a little weird. And these are valve operated cameras. No, not really. But, they're, and that's what we're going to, Elmer, right now. All right, so let me show you this really quick. Dang. This is the Acom 2000 Alpha, the smoking gun, I call it. 2 kilowatt. I bought it primarily. I've been doing a lot more AM stuff, and this will do a legal limit key down for 365 days a year for 24 hours straight every day. They're very, very robust, and I wouldn't do that, but supposedly that's what you can do. It is a valve amp, runs two CX, what are they? CX 400s or something like that. So I'm going to run through the startup process, and let me just show you. I'll move this for a second. Sorry, banging the microphone around on my freaking neck. So that is the amplifier right there, that big black box. And the stand she's on, I got a funny story. For you on this. I can't get the camera straight right now. You guys are just going to have to cope with it. Kind of tilt your head. Freaking thing comes in 2 boxes, right? I think it weighs about 96 pounds, fully assembled. So the it comes separate. The transformer comes separate, and the amp comes in a separate box. And you got to put the transformer in, pull the cover, put the transformer in, screw it in there. It's got big screws which go in through the bottom. And I looked at the weight of it, and I looked at the size of it just as I was purchasing it. I'm like, holy crap, I got nothing to put that on. I'm not throwing it on the floor, and I need it somewhere where I don't have to move it. I ain't gonna move that thing. That thing's heavy. So I was like, all right. I built the thing you saw it sitting on, I built that out of 2x4s. And I tested it. I stood on it and jumped up and down. And yeah, it ain't going anywhere. She ain't going anywhere. So yeah. Anyways, that's what it looks like. What you're looking at right now is the control head. And we're going to light it up. And I'll show you the process, and I'll just hit the on-off button. And there we go. She's going to start. And it goes through a heat-up process, heats the tubes up. And at the end of the process, it takes a couple minutes. And I just heard the fan spool up. So in the meantime, I'll talk a little bit. Yesterday I got an external fan. If you're going to do a full key down, 15 minutes or more, you should put an additional external fan on the back, which is where the transformer is. So I just installed that last night, which provides additional cooling. And Yeah. So it's actually a 110 and 120. Plugs into a wall outlet, and it's got a rheostat, a trimmer on it. So you just wind that thing all the way. I got it wound all the way up. And it does seem to help already. I'm not running, I haven't pushed more than, I think I brought it up to about 800 watts. Pretty effortless. Looks like, so my drive, so I can tell you what the drive level is. I run it at 13, and it gives me right here on Thetis. Let me get over to the other screen. Drive level of 13. And I can't do it. That's right, I can't do it. But a drive level of 13, which is very little drive. I think 40 watts puts it at legal limit, to my knowledge. I think if I wouldn't, yeah, I think it's maybe a little bit less than that. So I think it's literally a few watts gives me about 350, 400 out. So it's not a low drive amplifier, but it is, you can see it's almost done. But it's not a high drive either. Gotta be a little careful. You can't, keep track of things. I do have to set up the PA settings in Thetis so I don't overdrive the friggin' thing by accident. So what you want to do is you want to set 100% on the drive level at the maximum drive limit for the power you're going to run out of the amplifier. There we go. Please wait, warm up in progress. We're down 2, 1. Here we go. Okay, those are the stepper motors that you could probably, I don't know if you could hear that. Stepper motors go through sequence when it first starts, and there you go. Fairly straightforward. There is auto tune capability as well as manual tune capability. The tune system on this is very good. I'm not exactly sure of the matching capability of it. I believe it's 3-to-1 or less. I know, I'm a little worried, Elmer. So I've got, so if you look here, this is the menu right here, and these buttons all correspond. You can program different antennas. It has 10 memories per band of tuning areas. So you'll notice it's on 36 to 3650. And if you look at Thetis, it's sitting on 7211. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come up here to an open frequency here. And I'll give it a bump. So she's ready to operate. And you don't need this connected to the transceiver as far as CAT goes. It's all RF sensing. So what you do is you give it a bump with a little bit of drive, and it will automatically change bands for you. So let me put it into operate, and I'll just give her a little touch. Hit the tune button. She should go. There it is. You'll hear it, boom. Stepper motor engaged, and away we go. 70. So it senses the band, part of the band you're in. So this section is 7200 to 7300. So we're at 7.228. Should have been on the other camera. And for some reason that's not. Yeah, it's tough to see. So you can see this is 7200, 7300. To tune it, you can go to tune here, and this is an auto tune function. And all you have to do is just hit it. So I can hit it with the tune, and there we go. Not quite enough drive, but it had 0 reflected power, and what was the total output power? 150 watts. So, yeah. I shouldn't say that. I need to correct that. That's where I started this morning, was at drive level at 13 on Thetis. Actually, it's about 16, 17 on the drive level, which I don't know the number of watts going in. So put it back in standby. You might, dude. I don't know. It does not, Jerry. I have an RF sampler coming. It was may have been shipped out on Friday. I'm not sure. So yeah. Now I'm trying to figure out what to do with the other crap, because something's going. Now, there's one thing I wanted to say. All right, about the well, I'll just leave it here, because this is really amplifier related. So there's one thing I wanted to say, that, somebody jumped onto 228. Boy, that's a coincidence. I wonder if they're watching the stream. They saw the stream. That's weird. Anyways, okay. So this amplifier, well, I should say the PW1. You guys know I run a PW1, right? It's an Acom PW1. That thing is super simple to operate compared to this. This is a lot more. Well, it's not a lot more, but it is more complicated. The tune function on this, you have to, once it's tuned, you never have to tune it again, right? The PW1 isn't like that, because I don't have it connected to the radio. It doesn't know where I am on the band until I manually switch the band mode. But the tuner on that thing is dynamite. You know, you just bump it. I think it's like literally 1 or 2 watts. Just hit it. And you watch the SWR, you watch it tune the antenna. It's literally like this. It's like bump, bump, bump. And that's it. That's how quick it is. It's a dynamite type system. I don't, and I never have, Elmer. None of my rigs have ever had a relay, ever. So I don't know. I know a lot of guys talk about it, and it's recommended. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or not. Anyways, that's it, guys. Woohoo! I'm going to go ahead and pull the plug. That's basically it in a nutshell, but I want to show everybody the G2, what's going on with that. And we'll see y'all later. Yeah, you know, and that PW1, I'm telling you, man, I've been running that on AM, just pushing about 100 to 200 watt carrier. That thing chugs along. The cooling on it is superb. It's excellent. Reaches a certain temperature, the fans ramp up, boom, down she comes. It's a great amplifier. You know, so I don't even know why I've always wanted the Acom. I've wanted it for a long time, and playing more on AM. And go ahead and shut this down. That was the amplifier shutting down. Okay, I'm out of here. Have a super fun day. I've been having a ball with this with this combination for the past, I don't know, 2 days. 2 days, and the guys are saying, I don't know. I think it sounds like crap, but they're like, man, that freaking thing sounds awesome. One of the best sounding radios I've ever heard on the air. I heard yesterday morning, and I've always wanted one. Always wanted one. I wonder if I should have got that instead of the G2. Elecraft K3S. This guy plugs a RE27 straight into the front of it, and I'm telling you, that thing freaking rips ass. It sounds awesome, and you know me. I'm an audio guy. I'm telling you right now, that is a nice rig. You can pick those up for about $2,000 or a little bit less. Worth every penny. We'll see you guys later. Have a great day, and thanks for watching. Thanks, Todd. Hope all is well out there, man. Yep. Acom 1000. I almost bought one of those Ghost Rider, by the way. There was a great deal on one. Yeah, they're monsters. Yeah, VP2EIH. Yeah, hopefully, maybe to catch you today. Darren. Oh, Darren, I'm glad you popped in. I was going to mention this. Darren, thanks for your video. Videos. I can't remember anything, but I did a search and one of your videos popped up and I was like, oh, there it is. There it is, buddy. So yeah, answered a huge question I had. So there you go. Let's say thank you for putting the information out there. You guys go check out Darren's channel. He's got a really a lot of nice stuff regarding this SDR madness and a lot of experience there. So please frequent his channel. Keep an eye out because he's always got something good to contribute. We'll see you guys later. Steven, see you. Hey, Steve. WZ1U, there he is. There's the freaking Elecraft dude. There he is. He just popped into the chat at the bottom. Everybody give him a pat on the back because that freaking thing sounds crack-a-lack. N4ZOP. Tim. Oh, there you go, Tim. You wanted to say hi to Steve, didn't you? And see, Tim, I told you I'd forget. I'd forget to say hello. I was supposed to do that. Good Lord. Oh, good heavens. I'm going to be getting into... I had a lot of questions. A lot of questions regarding the receive audio. I don't know if you saw that video I put up yesterday morning, but holy crap. I'm going to be doing a video on that. I do not use the noise reduction on the Anan. I am working on the NR2. I was doing a little work before the video started, so I got to get that dialed in a little bit better. I'm not happy with it. But I'm going to do a config video dedicated for not just this rig, but an updated one, because I don't think I've done one since last year, and the whole system is different. So I'm going to do a walkthrough of how to get this running. I'm telling you, you guys that go look at that video and look at the comments in there and listen to that. It's freaking ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Worth every penny. Costs about $100 to do. Worth every penny. There's nothing. Thetis can't touch it. Nothing can touch it. You know, you guys are saying, "Oh, is that the radio? Or are you doing something external or whatever?" I'm like, "No, it's not the radio. I use it exclusively on every single transceiver. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Super easy. $100. When you're talking $4,000 for a radio, $100 is nothing. All right. If you're talking $150 for a radio, $100 is nothing. So that's the way I look at it. You don't like it, don't use it. Whatever. But I'm telling you, man, it's the most bombastic freaking thing I have ever seen. And I will say that it's a valuable tool because the Anans, I saw it this morning. I lit this thing up this morning and there was static crashing going on. I had a snap come through and I almost jumped out of the damn chair. Now, when I had the 200, I literally I'd try to run the Anan and I'd immediately shut it off and go back to the sun because you can't even hear them on the sun. And when you do hear them, they're like that's it. You're that type of thing. Freaking Anan, it's like someone banged two 2x4, slapped them together right next to my ear hole. It literally makes me jump in my chair. It's just, and the G2 is exactly the same. Exactly the same. It's a freaking noise box when there's static crashing. So, yeah, the sun's going nowhere. It's a beautiful front end on that. So, the G2, I'm going to find a niche for it. Like I said, this is primarily an AM rig, and I'll probably do a little weak signal. Great for weak signal work. Awesome. Front end for weak signal is sick. But it still has that banjo in a box sound. That ding, 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 that type of sound. to the audio. I don't know what it is. So I'm actually going to be going to work to get that out of there. I got to figure out a way on the receive side to get that out. I will figure it out. Never spent that much time with a 200. I just shut the damn thing off and move over to the Sun when it's noisy, which I will be doing because it's just such a beautiful front end. Holy crap, that thing is gorgeous to listen to. I suspect it's very similar to a Flex. I think it might be even better than a Flex because I've heard a lot of Flexes and it's very subdued. It's a very subdued when it comes to QR Nancy compared to any radio I've ever heard. So it's not nitromethane like the Anan, of course. The Anan front ends are literally like rocket fuel poured onto a blazing fire. I mean, these things there's nothing like them. They're crazy. But to an audiophile like myself, who's played the studio game since I was, about 16 years old, as a session musician, a drummer, and ran a professional recording studio for many years, my ears are very sensitive to that crap. I can hear very subtle things in people's audio, and especially in the front end of these transceivers. And unfortunately, it drives me up the freaking wall. So anyway, we will... Yeah, I think so, Tim, as well. The Sun, all I will say about the Sun, and this video isn't about the Sun, but I will say this. The first time I lit that radio up, now I had the Anan 200. The first time I lit that radio up, my freaking jaw hit the floor. The sound of that thing, the only way I can describe it is if you guys have heard an old Kenwood valve head unit that you'd use to play records on, LPs, stuff like that. That's what it sounds like, without the scratchiness in the LP. If you were to take like a CD player and plug it into one of those old valve units, that's what it sounds like. Warm and fuzzy, baby. It is so, I could listen to that. Well, I have listened to it for hours and hours and hours with absolutely zero earhole fatigue. It's a very unique transceiver. I know Expert has screwed the software up, but run it on V2. Don't look back. It's a great, stable transceiver. Never had an ounce of problems with it. No quirks, no nothing. So this isn't a comparison between the two, but the Anan is a very unique radio. Anyways, we'll see you guys later. Tim, you've had them all. Steve will tell you. Oh, God. See y'all later. Ciao. I'm out of here.